Hello, this is Marc from Mere Athlete. Not too long ago I wrote an article with regard to medical marijuana. I wanted to do a follow-up, although this is not a topic that I chose to put a lot of emphasis into. I eventually ended up writing more and more and doing a little bit more follow-up on the work with regard to my writings. I've had people ask me questions. I've also read some other articles and also watched some videos of people that had addiction issues, concern with the addiction qualities, and the way the cards were being issued out. And I guess the big point is no matter what it is you use to ease or alleviate pain or chronic pain, there's always going to be people that will abuse whatever it is that's prescribed to them to handle pain. But I did a follow-up with it's called Medical Marijuana and Pain Relief Part 2, and it was a scientific support data to the first part of the article that I wrote with regard to pain relief and medical marijuana use. And you can go to my website, just go to mireathlete.com, MIRRORATHLETE.com, and look at the top and it'll say chronic pain section. I think I still have all 4 parts of the articles that I wrote that will answer a lot of questions if you have questions with regard to medical marijuana use and its effectiveness. But I've got the article in my hand. I'm looking through it right now, and other than going over the scientific data, you can go ahead and read this yourself. But there was a couple things I wanted to read, and from the first article that I wrote, it was obvious that now science knows there's opiate receptors, and there's also THC receptors, cannabis receptors in the nervous system, so that if you have injuries around the back, or there's various other diseases here that say, for example, morphine is the gold standard to alleviate pain or to inhibit the pain, that may not necessarily work in some cases where the cannabis receptors would alleviate pain. So if you want to read up on those studies and what science has found with regard to what I just said, I would highly recommend you go to my site and you read my 4 articles on medical marijuana use. But there's one area in here, I'm going to see if I can find it, that talks about, we talked about the Compassionate Use Act in 1996, where states started allowing the use of medical marijuana, and people that qualified with certain types of diseases, especially it started out with AIDS patients, to get them to eat and get nourishment in their body, that they would be allowed to smoke medical marijuana to build up, stimulate eating, and also with some other medications that it would help control the whatever you put in doesn't come back up, hold it down, in other words. But the one thing that I thought in this article that was interesting that a lot of people don't know is something I would like to just read to you, so you can just hear it real quick. But down here on the second page of 4 pages of this article I wrote, the Compassionate Use Act passed in 1996 expressly provides that chronic pain is a condition for which physicians are authorized to recommend marijuana without threat or fear of punishment for providing a full range of treatment modalities to care for patients in pain. However, federal policy on the medical cannabis is filled with contradictions. Cannabis is a Schedule I drug classified as having no medicinal value and a high potential for abuse, yet its most psychoactive component, THC, is legally available as Marinol okay, Marinol, and is listed in the DEA Drug Schedule 3 classification for physician prescriptions. That means you can get medical marijuana in the oil form in a capsule legally. For those that don't know, Class 3 prescriptions fall under the same legal prescribed DEA classifications such as Tylenol. To add insult to injury, an average month supply of Marinol will cost you approximately, I put $500, but I've seen it as low as $350. A medical marijuana script license provides you the right to produce and medicate without the outrageous cost to alleviate chronic pain, but has a double jeopardy possibility of imprisonment at the federal government's discretion. Is the government trying to figure out a way to make money by controlling a multi-billion-dollar industry at the expense of suffering people in pain? How much lower could we stoop as a nation? So, really, you know, you can get the THC, which is marijuana, as a DEA classified unallowable prescription drug through your HMO, and yet there's still problems with states' rights and the DEA Fed type individuals that, if for whatever reason didn't like how it was being controlled or how it was being distributed, could come in and basically throw you in jail. Although that doesn't happen as often as it had. And now with states being depleted of funds, and doesn't it seem interesting now that, like, the states like California, Oregon, and Washington, but most specifically California, are looking to legalize marijuana on a state level, kind of like beer. Now, I never had a problem with the legalization of marijuana as long as it was controlled. Just like, you know, we talk about beer and alcohol, you know, during the Prohibition days or times, you know, there was a lot going on then where, you know, of course we know it wasn't legal to drink alcohol at one point. Well, the government found a way to control it. The Maffia just moved pretty much into a controlled government mafia, which is why we have so many problems with our government today. It's not controlled so much by the people, but the government's basically pulling the strings. And if the government can maintain power and control of commodities and the people, then if it can figure out a way, in other words, if it can figure out a way to control the marijuana multi-billion-dollar industry, then it will allow it to be done. But it has to be done their way. Because obviously, if you can grow your own pot to use for your own personal needs or reasons, regardless of whether it's for medical marijuana use or if it's just outright use as a recreational drug, just like alcohol, they want to be able to control that. If they can't control it, you'll be thrown in jail. You know, it's just an example if you're not doing it the way they want you to do it. So it was just, or you'll be penalized severely. One way or the other, you're going to pay if you don't follow the rules. Okay, so we do have rules in society. And addiction, just like the penal system, is a government industry. It's a money maker. It's a tax funding industry operation, and that's power and control. And the government controls these things. So even though, you know, you can still get your medical marijuana through Marinol, it's legal, but not completely legal with states' rights and the feds at this point. But there are states that are allowing the medical marijuana distribution. But just be careful. Make sure you read these articles and be careful how you go about doing these things, all right? So just giving you a little more information, doing a little bit of follow-up, and trying to get you to do your due diligence. Well, I've got to go. I'm running out of time here. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and write them. If I need to throw out another one of these and explain it a little bit more, I'll do that. But for now, good health to you and your family, and have a great day. Bye.